Tonight I'd like to give a toast to a dear friend of mine, Robert Broyles. Robert Broyles is a dear friend of mine. I call him Bobby. We met 21 years ago on a missions trip to Costa Rica. He was 14, I was 21. We both had a very changing time in our lives at that point when we went to Costa Rica. Robert, I remember you had the sides of your head shaved. You had long hair, no beard at the time. You weren't old enough to grow it. I remember you pre-beard. Most people don't. I remember also that you were a very good guitarist at 14. Very good starter. I remember you playing and how I was impressed with that. Now, we met when he was 14, I was 21 years ago, and it was probably about 5 or 6 years after that I was running my own business at 21. He was in school. I didn't get to see a lot of him because he was living with his family. I was living an adult life, but 5 or 6 years later, Robert was working with Pat at Best Lawn Care, and I had stopped my lawn business and was going to PCC, trying my hand at college, and I was working at Olive Garden while I was going to school. And one day, Robert and Pat showed up at the Olive Garden. They were sitting at a table having lunch, and I come over, and I recognized you. I was waiting tables in another section, but I come over to talk to y'all, and I inquired about a job, and Robert put in a good word for me with Pat, and that was the beginning of me at the BLC. And so we had many years, blood, sweat, and tears, 10 years at least, maybe 11 of us, and we're still working together today in the landscaping field. And what I like to think about, what I know, is that one of the best attributes of Robert and our relationship, he's always had my back. He's always held me accountable. He was always a dear friend to me, and through the good, the bad, and the ugly, when I was succeeding, when I was failing, when I was faltering, or whatever my ideas were, I could always count on Robert to speak the truth in my life, and it was based on trust. I always trusted him because I knew his heart connected with mine. He has a heart that loves people, and I've always seen Robert put others first and himself second, and it was always touching to me, and I just kind of choked me up a little bit. I love you, brother. I've always appreciated that about you. And also, Robert's a wonderful musician. He plays 6 to 7 instruments. Basically, anything he gets his hands on, he can play if he puts his mind to it. And there was many years that we played festivals, and I remember the time when we were doing the Nothing But Worship. There was times we were out doing feeding ministries up on the stage playing for nothing. One of the most memorable times was when Robert got us a gig at the Lakeland Regional Medical Center. We were playing in the palliative care unit. Now this story, we're in the hallway. Now the palliative care unit is where people go to die. There's no hope for them, no medical help, and they pass away there at the hospital. And so we had gotten an opportunity to go in, and we were sitting in the hallway. We're just sitting on the floor. We had guitars. I had my flute, and we were playing softly and singing softly. And this is something about Robert and I. Robert's got this energy that comes out of him, and I got this energy that comes out of me. And when the two of us come together, there's this vortex of energy, and it's blessed so many folks. And there's just a power to it. And one of the things that's always just kept me connected with Robert. I love it when we're playing music together. So we're doing this in the hallway, and as we're playing softly, the nurses are doing the work, people are going back and forth, and we're next to a doorway, and this lady and her husband go inside this room, and then they come back out, and we're still playing, and then they go back in again, and then this time they come out and they're crying, and they went in one more time, and we had come to the end of our song, what we were playing, and we just kind of let the music stop. There was a hush in the hallway. And the lady and her husband came back out, and they come over to us, and they said, we'd like to thank you for that beautiful music you were playing while our mother passed away. And so this is the kind of relationship and the adventures that Robert and I have shared over the years. Wonderful things. Robert, you're an uncle to my children. Even though you're not flesh and blood, it's probably deeper than that. So you're an uncle to my children. I trust you with my wife, I trust you with my kids, I trust you with my house, and I trust you with my life. And I'm very friendly. I've met a lot of friends over the years. I make friends with everybody I meet. And it's good to have a lot of friends, but it's more important that you have that one true trusted friend. And Robert, you've been that to me. You've been that one person that has always touched my heart and has always been there for me. And I was thinking this earlier when I was practicing for this toast. I would lay down my life for you whenever necessary. And I mean that with all my heart. I would like to raise a glass to Robert Broyles, dear friend of mine, wonderful man of God. Here's to Robert Broyles. Love you, Bobby.
I don't have one.
I know, it's going to be sneaky.